registration now.
What's the problem, officer?
The problem is, I'll tell you what the problem is. Your taillight's flickering.
Can I ask why you pulled me over for a taillight?
Because that's what I do. What are you doing in this neighborhood?
I'm a taxi driver, sir. Just dropped off a passenger.
Yeah, where's your passenger now?
I dropped him off about 30 minutes ago.
Step out of the vehicle, now!
Officer, I need to understand what
You're
I'm being
being stopped because I said so!
There are nights in America when a seemingly ordinary traffic stop suddenly becomes a moment that exposes an uncomfortable truth. When power ends up in the wrong hands, it creates fear, humiliation, and sometimes even disaster. That night, as red and blue lights swept across a quiet street, an officer named Bryant walked toward a yellow taxi as if he were about to teach a lesson to some stranger, not perform the duty of protecting the community. What Bryant didn't know was that the man inside that taxi wasn't just any cab driver. He was Bryant's highest-ranking superior, someone who had spent months reviewing complaints from citizens and finally decided to uncover the truth himself. For half a year, the Office of Police Chief Prince had received the same types of reports over and over. Black drivers stopped for no legitimate reason, Latino families having their cars searched because they looked suspicious, minor violations punished far more harshly when the driver wasn't white, and every single report had the same name attached to it: Officer Bryant. This reality is not new to America. Studies highlighted on GLASP have shown repeatedly that racial bias in policing isn't just about individual attitude. It is a measurable behavior, a pattern that can be tracked through data if someone cares enough to look. But in this city, although citizens complained constantly, Bryant always escaped accountability. He knew how to use familiar excuses, like a strange smell, matched a description, or suspicious behavior, to shut down internal investigations. Meanwhile, the U.S. still lacks a complete national system for collecting data on police misconduct, leaving countless violations in the dark. Exactly the issue many GLASP analyses pointed out. So Prince realized one thing: if he wanted the truth, he would have to record it himself. That was when he came up with a bold plan. He would become a taxi driver. He grew a beard, changed his clothes, altered his speech, obtained a real taxi license, bought an old cab, and spent 2 full weeks driving real passengers so that every movement felt natural. Hidden cameras were installed inside the car, and a concealed body cam was strapped beneath his shirt. Everything was prepared so carefully that no one would notice he was a high-ranking officer conducting a secret investigation. Only 2 people in the entire department knew about the operation. That Friday night, when Prince drove into the area with the most complaints, he didn't speed, didn't miss a turn signal, didn't commit a single violation. But he knew one thing: if an officer wants to stop you, they only need an excuse. And Bryant behaved exactly as expected. After Prince passed the patrol car a second time, red and blue lights ignited behind him. The way Bryant walked toward the taxi said it all. This wasn't the posture of someone performing a standard procedure. It was the posture of someone used to dominating others. He slammed his flashlight against the window, demanded documents without greeting or explanation. "Your taillight is flickering," he said, a blatant lie. When he ordered Prince to remove his mask, despite no policy requiring it, the intention was clear. It wasn't about safety. It was about power. And the moment Prince lowered the mask and revealed the beard and the skin of a black man, Bryant's attitude shifted, not toward professionalism, but toward prejudice. Bryant dragged the background check out for 20 minutes, then told Prince to step out. With no legal basis, he searched the back seat, the gym bag, and the trunk. This behavior is known as driving while black, a phenomenon documented in thousands of traffic stops where the driver's only offense is the color of their skin. When he found nothing, Bryant moved to the next step: escalation. "Turn around, hands behind your back." When Prince asked why he was being arrested, Bryant responded with 2 empty phrases: suspicious activity and failure to comply. Both false. But Bryant didn't need to be right. He only needed power. When the handcuffs clicked shut, Prince, a man who had cuffed real criminals countless times, was now the victim of a racist officer, and everything was captured from 4 angles. Inside the patrol car, Prince stayed silent. No arguing, no reacting, no giving Bryant any opportunity to twist the situation. And in that silence, Bryant revealed exactly who he was. He started talking about you people, your kind, and complained that the neighborhood was cleaner before those types moved in. Words full of prejudice, words he had always avoided using in front of witnesses, now captured clearly, syllable by syllable. He had no idea that the man behind him was the only person in the entire city who could fire him on the spot. When they entered the station, a few officers barely glanced over, thinking this was just another routine arrest. But the moment Prince stopped walking, shifted his tone, and said, "Officer Bryant, I need you to listen very carefully." The entire room froze. Prince removed his cap, then his mask. The air felt like it was sucked out of the room. Those who recognized him stared wide-eyed. Bryant still didn't understand, until Prince turned around. His face drained of color. The man he had insulted, searched, threatened, and unlawfully arrested was the chief of police. Prince said only one sentence, cold and calm. "My office. Now." The hallway to the chief's office felt longer than ever. No one said a word. Every officer they passed watched Bryant walk like a man heading toward the end of his career. Inside the office, Prince didn't sit. He stood straight, leaning forward slightly, not angry, but disappointed. A disappointment far more terrifying than anger. "Do you know," Prince began, "how long I've heard your name in complaints? 6 months." Bryant tried to speak. "Chief, But Prince cut him off. "No, you have nothing to explain. Everything you needed to explain, you already said in the patrol car." It was like a blade to the heart. Prince pressed play. The hidden body cam footage illuminated the room. Bryant saw himself slamming the flashlight against the window, shining the beam into the driver's eyes, inventing excuses, searching the car without cause, saying "you people" and "your kind" when he thought no one would hear. Every second was recorded with unforgiving clarity. When the footage reached the part where Bryant complained about those types ruining the neighborhood, his face went pale, and when Prince's real face appeared in the video as he removed the mask, Bryant squeezed his eyes shut as if wishing he could disappear. Prince spoke calmly. "Do you know what the worst part is? It's not the mistakes, not the violations. It's that you treated the people of this city as if they were beneath you. You abused your power. You disrupted the lives of people who were simply going to work, going home, living their lives. And because of you, good officers have to carry the burden of your actions." Every word was sharp, but not exaggerated. It was the kind of truth every ethical officer understands. One bad cop can destroy a community's trust and stain the entire force. Bryant removed his badge, then his gun, placing both on the desk with trembling hands. Prince declared, "You are suspended immediately, without pay, pending Monday's termination hearing. But understand this clearly, that hearing is only a formality. Your career ended tonight." Bryant left the office a broken man. What awaited him outside was even worse, the judgment of the public. The next morning, the footage was released to every news outlet. By noon, it was national. By evening, international. People couldn't believe that the taxi driver who had been mistreated was actually the police chief, and that he had gone undercover to expose a racist officer. What shocked Americans wasn't just what Bryant said, it was how familiar the problem felt. Viewers realized that what happened to Prince, a man with power, was something millions of Black, Latino, Asian, and Middle Eastern Americans experience every year, driving while black was no longer a theory. It was reality, recorded clearly. And this time, the victim was the head of the police department. Some praised Prince. Some said it was a setup. But as many police behavior researchers note, entrapment only applies when the officer is tricked into behavior they wouldn't normally commit. Bryant, based on years of complaints, had been doing this for a long time. The only difference was that he finally targeted someone who had the ability to expose him. Within days, hundreds of former complainants came forward again. Old cases were reopened, lawsuits were filed. Data revealed that Bryant's stop-and-search rates were abnormally high, especially toward drivers of color. One legal institute pointed out, an officer doesn't need to use racial slurs to be racist. Behavior alone can prove it, and Bryant's behavior was undeniable. By Monday, the termination hearing lasted less than an hour. The board dismissed the entrapment argument immediately. Bryant was fired permanently. His police certification was revoked statewide. A federal civil rights investigation was opened. Even when he moved to another state, the video followed him everywhere. 3 days later, Prince held a press conference. He didn't brag, didn't dramatize. He simply said, "What happened to me happens to people every day. The only difference is that I had the power to do something afterward. They don't." That sentence hit the core of the issue. Justice isn't only about laws. Justice is about being heard and being protected, just like anyone else. Prince emphasized that one bad officer doesn't represent the entire force, but one bad officer can destroy the trust of thousands. He implemented new oversight programs, retrained officers on stop procedures, created an independent hotline for complaints, and made patrol data public. He turned the incident into the start of reform. The undercover taxi was later placed in a police museum as a symbol of an investigation unlike anything the city had ever seen. Bryant never returned to law enforcement. The city settled multiple civil cases from people he had wronged. But the most important legacy was the community's restored faith that someone inside the system was willing to stand up for them. People didn't remember the fall of Bryant as much as they remembered the choice Prince made. He didn't hide behind a desk or paperwork. He stepped onto the streets in an old taxi, facing real danger, to understand what his citizens endured. Some asked if Prince's method was too risky. The answer was obvious: yes. But it worked. Cameras don't lie. And that night, Bryant revealed his true self, word for word, without anyone forcing him. The story didn't end with violence or chaos. It ended with truth, recorded, undeniable, shining through the lens of a camera and the courage of a man who believed that justice must be proven, not just proclaimed. And in the end, it reminds us that power doesn't make someone good or bad. Character and choices do. Thank you for staying until the end. What happened that night wasn't just a wrongful stop. It was a powerful reminder that justice only exists when someone is willing to stand up for it. Wherever you are watching from, I hope this story gives you something to think about, something to feel, and something to believe in. That truth still has the power to change things. If you feel this story is worth sharing, help spread it, not for algorithms, but for the values everyone deserves: respect, fairness, and the right to be treated as a human being. See you in the next story. Stay safe, stay kind, and never forget the power of the truth.